what? I heard what was going on last weekend, but she said she was like, I was in Puerto Rico. She said, I need a synopsis. Man, that table gave her a synopsis of what happened last week. And a lot of talk was about we need to bring back. Sade, do you speak? Do you speak?
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever spoken 11 o'clock service?
No, oh, not at 11 o'clock. No,
Oh,
no.
you may have a you may have that opportunity to do that. You go plus the red lipstick ministry.
Praise God. Praise God.
Paul, what's in the
Praise
drink?
God.
What's
Praise
in the
God.
drink?
Let me hey, whatever he drinking, I'm finna
Because
drink.
I don't think it's tango. Like, what is?
It's tango.
It's tango.
It's that it's that. I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's this thick, nasty drink that my wife always buys when my son comes home. So he was gone. He left.
Yeah.
So that's all we got to drink. I ain't buying nothing different.
With a splash of yeah.
Look at that laugh.
Did you see the tickle? Like he was a Pillsbury no more.
You know what I'm saying? With a splash of that. Yeah.
Yo, I like what Emmy has to say. Emmy said, "Hey, we here."
And me. And
like this is
telenovela. Yo, hold on. Pause for a moment. Let me tell you something about this novela. When Faith's grandfather was alive, you could not come in and interrupt him when the novela was on, kid. That's like the Spanish soap operas. Anytime we come in, you know what I'm saying? And then it would go to commercial, and my man would be like, novelas is the thing, bro. I'm talking about drama unlimited. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's so passionate. You know,
it's passionate, bro.
You be like, una visión.
Just before the commercial, you hear dun dun dun.
Wow. The other one was Nueva something. Well, do you remember there was another one?
There's there's a whole bunch of them, really.
Well, you should know, bro. You should be paying attention to them.
What's the network with the T? Not Temple. Shoot, there's so many of them joints.
Those novellas
Telemundo.
That's it.
That's the commercial.
Telemundo.
I mean the network. Telemundo.
Telemundo.
Yeah, bro. It goes.
Hey, somebody has something to say here. I think this is Joseph 17.
Yeah.
He says, "Greetings, guys. I would love to hear you discuss what are some things a person can do before marriage to strengthen their commitment muscles or stick to itness."
Ooh, let me tell you, that seems to be the conversation of the day, P.
Facts. Here's another thing, right? All right. He also says it seems like having to constantly adjust, repeat things, and diet yourself are wearing folks out in a marriage relationships. But hey, listen, Joseph, but you have to. I mean, it seems like if it's wearing folks out, there's another problem, because in relationships, you're going to be repeating things. You're going to be constantly adjusting. You got to diet yourself. If it's wearing you out, maybe you weren't ready for this thing.
Yep. I think a lot of the times too, P, when we sit and we talk about, because I know what he's talking about. I was there. When we talk about it wearing us out, right?
Yeah.
It's because we looking more for what we can get out of it versus what we can give God.
Ooh.
What shall I render comes to mind.
Okay.
It comes to mind. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think in we apply that technique to everything else with ease, but in relationships, period.
Yeah.
We're usually there. Some people are just self-seeking and self-serving.
That's it.
So I think, you have the will because you do it at work, you do it at church, you do it other places, and it's tough, but you figure out a way to make it work. So I think, like for me, one thing that I'm working on is creating habits now, and learn the difference between motivation and commitment. Like, you're not always going to be motivated, but you got to be committed to what you say you're going to go ahead and do.
And I think in addition to that too, Sade, is the fact that sometimes because we know God is graceful, we abuse it.
I like that. I like that. what you just said right there. I like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe just the simple fact that anything that has to put in work has wear and tear over time.
Oh my.
Hey, hold on a second. Joseph, I take mine back, bro. I take mine back. Say that one more time, Lily. Anything that that you work on.
Anything that has to engage in a measure of work will have wear and tear over time.
Wow.
Look at your vehicles. Right?
Yeah.
It's working. They're efficient in the beginning, but over time, there's going to be wear and tear, right?
And guess what?
You just throw that car away? No.
You got to pay.
You go figure out, you know what I'm saying? How you going to get this thing back operational as it needs to be.
How about this? You got to take that car to a specialist.
You do.
How many times?
I can't take my Lexus to just any old dealer either.
Absolutely.
Give me $20. I heard lettuce. You know what I'm saying?
Lettuce. You remember the dude that used to work on cars? He got the little cigarette in his mouth.
Yeah.
Can't take it to that dude. And here it is. You guys have taught me, and you said it before, that if the car is messed up, right? A lot of times we work on cars, our own cars, because we're trying to save money. And we mess it up more because we don't know what we're doing. You know, not everything is watch a YouTube and try to change and try to change something. You got to take it to that specialist. And I think a lot of times in marriage, we're afraid to take things to specialists because we don't want nobody in our business. We don't want to rehash anything. And I'll tell you, one of my biggest ones is that I don't want to rehash it again. This is something 3 years ago, 4 years ago. But if you don't take care of what happened 3 years, 4 years ago, you're living in trauma.
Or you're thinking that it's more minuscule than what it is.
Wow.
Right. So it's based upon the perception of the individual who is saying, right, oh, this is okay. Is your partner also perceiving it as the same?
Or here's another part to it. Some of you want to drive Lexuses, but you're not ready to drive a Lexus. You really should stay in the Honda Accord that you're in right now. Because when you drive a Honda Accord, you could drop unleaded gas in it. It can take a certain kind of banging, and it goes a long way in a way that the Lexus, BMW, Benz, it takes a premium gas only. You know what I'm saying? Them parts cost a whole nother hookup. And sometimes we want to jump to level 5 and we haven't learned the lessons of 2, 3, and 4 yet.
Or sometimes it's just that you think you got forever. Marriage is forever. I got forever. I need to make sure that I'm doing great at my job. I need to make sure that I'm securing my friends. I need to make sure that I'm enjoying my life, whatever. But it's like, I mean, I got forever. They'll be there.
Hey, you talking about this dude right here?
Here's another way to look at it.
That dude right there. Go ahead.
Need your carbon ready fifth right there.
It's like, how did it not fall out? How does the cigarette not fall out? Do he
light it? And all this talking that he doing, the ash don't fall off neither. That's the thing that get me.
But right, because I feel like his lips got to be crusty to keep that right.
Crusty.
So
you don't want to light it. You don't want to.
Here's another way to look at it while y'all trying to figure out, or Deb's trying to figure out how to hold that blunt in her mouth. So here's the thing.
Excuse me.
So here's the thing.
It is edibles for me. I have asthma. I don't smoke. I'm a lady.
Nah, fam.
I'm a lady.
I'm a
lady.
I've seen some ladies roll a mean one.
This is true.
Roll that spliff. All right, anyway.
Go ahead, Terry. Talk to me.
Here's another way to look at it. You also pretend or you feel that you have healed from it because it has happened so long ago.
Wait, are we going to ignore what Graham just drank? What are you drinking?
No, I'm good. We
already
talked about it.
He drinking orange juice and.
So Terry, come on, Terry.
He's drinking a carafe. Okay, and so the deal is that we think that we have healed from it because it's happened so long ago, and what we don't realize is when we act out, that's that incident that's showing up again. You see what I'm saying? It comes out in your behavior, and so you're like, well, ain't nothing wrong with me. I didn't heal from that. That was years ago. I don't even want to talk about that. You probably need to.
Yeah, and T, that's what I call a tune-up. I tell people all the time, it's okay to get a tune-up, right?
Leah, please stop with the tune-up
Absolutely.
when your man just said I repair vehicles and I understand the maintenance of a Leah Lexus.
Look, and he ain't lying.
Looking like
that's Lonnie Love right there.
Looking like an honorable Michael Bivins.
All right, let's go, y'all. I think we missed each other too much. You know what I mean? I think we missed each other too much. Go ahead. So you're talking about that tune-up. That's what you're talking about right now. And I think that a lot of times we're not willing to have the tune-up. Like, let me tell you something. Like, I was calling Sade earlier because my son's engine dropped out of his car.
What?
Like, boom, dropped out of his car. And I'm saying to myself, I need y'all to hear this. I'm saying to myself, man, I just put a new engine in that car because I had it built up. So I put a new engine inside of that car. How in the world could something go wrong with this engine? And here it is. When my son looked at it and somebody else looked at it with him, there's nothing wrong with the engine. There was something wrong with the engine mount.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the engine is perfectly fine, but what it was mounted on, all right, come on, y'all. What it was mounted on was not sturdy. In fact, it was rusted. So what's important to understand is that many of us have great relationships and don't even know it, but it's not mounted on anything, no foundation. So any little thing that goes wrong, Des, little thing that goes wrong, Sade, any little thing that goes wrong, Leah, what happens? It's like the whole relationship drops out from us. And God is saying to us, yo, check it, right? Therapists are saying to us, parents probably, right? Even good friends, I said good ones, are saying, ain't nothing wrong with your marriage. You need to get right back to the foundation of it. And this is why what Joseph was talking about earlier, Joseph makes the comment, right? He makes the comment, what do you do beforehand? You build a foundation before you get married.
Can I insert this word again? Because it seems to be the word of the century: development.
Absolutely.
If you don't develop yourself as an individual, there's certain places and spaces that you should not begin to operate. Relationships is one of them. If you are not a developed individual, please don't take your brokenness into nobody's relationship and ruin nobody's life and leave all this collateral damage behind. Please don't.
Yeah.
And it's too many. Come on, D. No, come on.
But this made me think of something. This made me think of the fig tree in the Bible. And I understand what you're saying, Pastor Graham. However, you didn't drop the engine in, right? You had it built up, a mechanic did blah, blah, right? Okay, cool. So you're supposed to have the engine mount. Great. The engine mount is supposed to serve a certain purpose. It's supposed to do a certain thing, but not until you're up close do you realize that the purpose this is supposed to serve, it is not. And if it does not, this is the issue you're going to have. So even though you have a good marriage, even though you have a good relationship, it's important to see a therapist so they can look up close, because you may have a rusted mount and you don't know. You think I have a good foundation. I have a 2-parent home. He has a good foundation. His parents were in the church. He's Adventist. Your mount looks good. Not until you go to a therapist and they start showing you that rust, do you realize there might be some foundational things y'all might need to change, because y'all's good engine is about to drop out.
Let me go to Leah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sade.
I think as a single person, I can't wait until marriage to start that process.
Wow.
Right. I think we have to, like, my thing right now in singleness is, what do I need to start practicing now so that it's a habit in marriage? Right? The engine mount, all of these things are great, but you also have to have the opportunity to know your vehicle well enough to know that sound don't sound right.
Come on. Okay.
Like, I drive my car every day, right? So I know when, let me turn my radio down. Let me turn down distractions. Let me listen to my car and understand exactly what's happening. And so a lot of times we have to be mindful in singleness. Like, you have to know yourself well enough to know, hey, if X, Y, or Z happens, I know how to respond in a way that's not going to destroy what we're trying to build in the first place.
Look at the question that Pee Wee just asked. How do you know if you're broken?
Exactly. You need to go to therapy because that's a healed person talking, Sade, because you got a lot of people that know their car. Oh no, I can get 100 more miles even though it say 20. Oh, it's always not like that. Oh, that check engine light is always on. Like you got people driving around because they know their car and they don't know. That's not normal. That's not okay.
It's true because so many of us, we drive our cars with the engine light on and with the sound as long as we getting from A to B. And I'm just saying, as long as we getting from A to B. Right.
Can we get to the point that we are saying that the car is the entire unit of the relationship? It is not the individual brake, right?
Okay.
It is the entire car. And so we will not know. We can do all of the work on ourselves and get into a relationship with someone that has not done the work that will break that whole car down.
So wait, hold on. Rochelle makes a comment here, right? She says we're all broken. That's what she says, right? I believe it. I'm just saying I believe it. I'm not just talking about the we all have sinned.
Can we say in need of fixing?
I was gonna say I'm a clinician. I don't like the word broken.
Okay.
Right?
In need of fixing.
Fix it.
But here's something, P. Here's if there's some telltale signs like I might need some help, right? Number one, if you're easily like you feel numb or disconnected, right?
Okay.
If you're easily triggered, if you struggle to trust people, if you're constantly tired, right? Not just physically, but emotionally tired. And emotionally fatigue sometimes causes you to feel physically fatigued, right? If you do a lot of negative self-talk and if that runs in your mind constantly, right? Or you self-sabotage relationships. You're always in survival mode. Like those when we talk about those things, like and I know Leah don't like the word broken, but to answer Pee-wee's question. Yeah.
She switched it. Because I was about to get on Leah right now for my own case, for my own self, because I you're not gonna make me cry. Hold up. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Drink some juice. Drink.
Yeah.
Or just cry. Listen,
let me tell you something.
Thank you, Dad. I was just sitting here just waiting. Right? He trying to stop the air.
Okay.
Allow yourself to feel. It's all right.
You're giving other men listening and watching permission to do the same.
It is a perpetual thing that we are broken. All right. It is a perpetual thing that we are broken. We can never get this right. Or you understand where I'm coming from? And instead of this, now you just Rochelle changed her words, and I was just gonna jump on you, Leah, and say, give me a better word then, other than broken, right? Give me a better word. Okay. She says
we're all hurting.
And need to repair. I love that.
Right?
I'll take both of them. Because I really believe, right? Honestly, I really believe that many of us are not healed ourselves, so we can't even be accountable in our relationships. We can't. And I'm sorry. For me, I recognize that for myself. That every time you think that you've made it over a hurdle over one thing, there's something else. It may not be the same thing as before, but it's always something else. And I think maybe brokenness is something that I need to get out of my vocabulary unless I'm not willing to change.
Yeah.
All right.
When you hear broken, it's useless. It can't do the thing it's intended to do. It doesn't have any value. When you hear broken, but most people don't hear it needs fixing. When you say it needed repair, it kind of gives that positive connotation of this can still be useful. It's still needed. There's there's an answer.
I got you.
You look at, I'm old school church, right?
Lord have mercy.
Wheel, right? If I'm on the wheel and there's a crack, I'm still on the wheel. I'm not in the fire. I'm not done. So if I'm constantly on this wheel and I mess up and God says, all right, let me put this back. Let me fix this. It's not that I'm broken. I'm still in development. I'm still being made. And if I take that mindset, right, of every day, God is still saying, she's not ready. She's not ready to go into the fire yet. Let me keep molding her. Let me mess up. She gonna
I see what Bob is saying. Thanks, Ade, for that, right? Because the word that you used just now was development again, right? I'm still developing. Bob makes this comment, right? Even though I love the word repair, I love the word repair. I love the word repair. He says we're photographs in the image of God that is still developing. And I like what you just said.
Oh, Bob, I'm stealing it. And I might give you credit.
That's right. So Sade, what you just said is, hey, what God is telling me is that I'm not throwing you away. I'm still developing you.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal, especially for singles, right? Who's wondering, we keep telling people you got to be developed before you get married.
Exactly, Paul. And so that's what I was thinking when I'm hearing Quest, right? Kind of run down all of these areas that we need to be honing in on prior to. The reality is that we are always identifying new things as you are in relationship. I often say, what happens when my trauma rubs up against your trauma?
Exactly.
Wow.
Whose trauma is gonna win? Right? What light is going to be shown in that moment that you had no idea sometimes that it's even there, right? If we're looking at the sanctification process, as we continue to grow in Christ, God is continually, until we close our eyes, showing us something new about ourselves. Do we not think that that's not happening in our relationships? Absolutely.
Yes.
There's going to be things that you did not know 20 years ago about yourself that will show up later. Just like we're talking about this car. That car came in real smooth. 20 years down the road, you're going to see something like, dang, it was a ding over here. And I ain't
and you acting like you bought the car like last month.
That part.
But see, here's the thing. Even to Leah's point, I drive my car every day, right? So it's when somebody else gets in, when they say, your AC don't get as cold as it should. Hold up, wait a minute. It suits me fine.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Do you not hear that, sir?
I hear you.
Pipe down. Pipe down.
First of all, hi, Mina.
Hey guys.
Pee-wee makes a statement here. He says most married couples. I hope she won some money for us. Most married couples. I'm sorry.
It's in that juice. It's that punch.
Look. Most married couples have individual issues they haven't dealt with. Some don't know until they get married.
Wow. Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. It shows
iron sharpens iron.
So let me say this then, because there is a cutoff point to all of this, right? Like, what is that cutoff point, or where is that? What's the word that I'm looking for? That divides where, like, for real, this might be reckless. Because when I was in my previous, I was like, yeah, this is somebody about to die, and I got to go, and I had to serve up papers. Like, what is that cutoff point? Because we're all developing, and that's going to be a lifelong thing until Jesus comes, right? We always going to be in develop mode. What is the mode where we are stabilized enough to say, okay, I can take on somebody in relationship and know that I'm not perfect, they're not perfect, but I have the willingness to work with. I always like to tell couples, I'm not the problem, you not the problem is the problem. How do we work together against the problem, even if it looks like it's resident in you and me and not against each other? You know what I'm saying? What is the cutoff point?
So then does it mean if the marriage is a dead, empty space and the two people occupying it are creating this space, that whatever we bring to the space is?
Oh, I like that. I like that.
I think, Quest, to answer your question,
I like
when
that.
you know that certain things aren't triggers anymore, or you're not, you hear it, but that trigger doesn't cause a negative response.
Okay.
That's when you know, like, you know what? I'm gonna let you have that. Whatever, man. Ain't nobody got time. Whatever. That used to bother me. It does not bother me anymore. You see what I'm saying? To the level where it's a dysfunction, where I'm not just, rage, what happened? That, how long did it take you? You see what I'm saying? Me, everybody else to realize, man, ain't nobody worried about that no more. Man, I ain't even got time for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of still in that phase, because when my kids tell me certain things, I'd be like, this man.
Yes, sir.
You know
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying?
Yes,
And
sir.
so it's certain things that still, like, oh, so when they could say, I'm getting to that point where like, yo, that's between you and your mom. I ain't got nothing. When the graduation is May, all right, good. That when my child support done, I'm out of here. I'm like, it's free. So yeah, when you get to that point where it doesn't really bother you anymore, those triggers are not really major triggers, you're kind of going somewhere.
Okay, I got you. But you asked the question, right?
Yeah.
When is it done?
Like, when I say the cutoff point is, I'm talking about two. Like when you're in that dating phase and like we form relationship and you realize like, okay, if I go into marriage with this might be a problem. I seen your response to a couple of things, and yeah, if I go past, if I jump the broom with you, like this is definitely gonna be a problem. Or when you're already in the marriage, and you realize like, oh snap, what did I do?
So
okay,
this is
okay. Let's pause for a second. We're gonna take a share break. Let's pause for a second. We're gonna take a share break. We're gonna ask everyone who's on right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
We are excited that you are on, and it's not about numbers, it's about sharing. So we're gonna ask you right now, if you take just a moment to share this with 5 people that you hate. Come on, share it with 5 people that you don't like. All right, I'm just saying, share it with 5 people. All right. And I really want to know who this Rochelle Rivers is, because she's throwing up some stuff in here. She's throwing.
You had her on the show before. Remember, that's my intern.
Oh my goodness, that's why she looks so familiar. Please share. Share this with 5 people.
I want to take it off. I want us to get banged. Talking about yeah.
All right, everyone.
They will remove your stuff.
We do not own the rights to De La Soul's buddy.
Black medallions, no go. Yeah,
hanging out with Paws, hanging out with Mace, buddy, all in my face.
Okay, they can't cut that. They can't cut that. So everybody share that with 5 people. And share that with 5 people. Mina, you was just talking about something just now, and I want to ask you a question. What does deal breaking look like, or when should deal breaking come into play? Or here's a question for everyone who's online first, right? And you may want to text it to us or put it out there. What's your deal breaking point? What is it that was cut? I'm done. What's your deal breaker? Whether it's infidelity, whether it's stealing, whether it's drugs, whether it's abuse, what is yours? Mina, I'm asking you, what is yours?
Yeah. So first of all, you can't have a deal breaker if you never had the communication. So deal breakers are not things that just come up along the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Beautiful.
And I'll say why.
Okay.
Because there are some experiences in life that I may have never had an encounter with, and that in the moment, the way my body responds to that particular stimuli, it may not be something that I can endure.
So Leah, let me ask you this.
Leah, can you give an example of what you're asking? What you're saying? Because I'm lost.
No, what I'm saying is, so what Mina said is that a deal breaker is something that cannot be unless it was communicated in advance. Am I interpreting that right, Mina?
Yes, because to me, a deal breaker are non-negotiables, right? And so, yes, Leah, I get it. To your point, something may happen in that relationship, and so let's say smoking is no, I can't even say that, because I would have said that in the beginning. Like, I don't deal with people, I don't date people, I don't marry people who smoke, period. So we have that understanding, and somewhere down the line you start smoking again, but we've already had this communication. So what you're describing, Leah, is it really a deal breaker though, or is it maybe something that's triggering in me? Like, is this something that I need to work on individually, we need to work on together? Because when I think of a deal breaker, there is no working it out. Like, I'm done, I'm leaving.
Exactly. Yeah, so what I'm saying is that in advance, I'm saying in advance, there was no measure of communication. there was a particular experience that may have occurred within that relationship that was something that I didn't think about in the beginning, right? It's a new experience. My physiological reaction to it, or my trauma reaction to it, is so overwhelming that I cannot endure.
Got you.
Right? And so in that moment, just like any real, like, you have some, that come to the table and say, hey, we have irreconcilable differences. But then you also have individuals that say, I am not going to do this anymore. Right? My first marriage, my husband would have remained in this forever. You know why? Because he felt that he was in the power position. Right? And so it would have been nothing for him to remain. I am the one that said, I'm out of here. And I left. For me and for my children, I made that choice and decision because there were some things that I never would have thought that I was going to come into that I had to contend with. And I wasn't. So that's what I mean.
Okay. That was a long explanation. I'm coming to you, Des. That was a long explanation just now. The reason why I jumped on Mina's bandwagon is because as a layperson, I'm thinking, as a layperson, Des, don't forget what you're going to say. As a layperson, I'm looking at, you can't break a deal unless a deal was made. And I think
the deal was the marriage, and I'm breaking the marriage.
So you saying to me, okay, all right, let's keep. Okay, I'm coming. Come on
with it.
I'll be quick.
Go ahead. I'm gonna come back to you, sis. I'm gonna come back to you.
I think that having a deal breaker is dangerous, especially for some people, especially like me, that are stubborn. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on it, even if I want to renege on it. When you are in a marriage, it's not a deal; it's a covenant. So we can't have deal breakers in a covenant.
Well, what happens? What happens if disrespect is a deal breaker?
Like, so that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, when we have a covenant, the way that you can break a covenant is already outlined. So if those things fall into breaking that covenant, then okay, fine.
Yep.
That's what that is, and I think it's very important that we navigate marriage in that way, because this is not a deal; it's a covenant. So if you do something, I said that if you cheat on me, I'm out. So you cheated, I said I'm out. But no. You broke this covenant. And there's a reason why there are certain things that allow you to get out of a marriage because of like Leah said, the effects that it has. And sometimes it is very damaging to the better parts of yourself or the work that Christ is trying to do in you. So does it break that covenant in whatever way? I think that's more spiritually responsible than just than just saying that, it's a deal breaker. I said I was going to do it, so now I'm not going to do it. Does it break that covenant?
But I'm thinking what Leah is speaking to.
Yeah, I think we put on certain words like a measure of divinity, right? When they pretty much operate as the same. A covenant and a deal is an agreement.
Okay.
What it is amidst two individuals, right?
Okay.
So I think covenant sounds more holy when we talk about it.
That's I think what we're getting to. Okay.
Versus a deal sounds like it's something on the street, right? Between
business contract.
Right.
Business contract.
And so the reality is both
marriages are
in agreement.
So see, in biblical times, in a covenant, you had two people who would speak to one another, and they would declare what the covenant was, and then the ritual of the covenant would take place. Now, if you're not agreeing to the stated covenant, then we could just walk away from this right now. And I think that's the reason why the conversations need to happen prior to us entering into. This is the reason why discussions and conversations and all of those things need to take place, because I need to know what I'm walking into before I walk into it, and I need to be able to agree or disagree. And yeah, come on, Mina.
I think people mess up their. I'm sorry.
But Mina, go ahead.
So I want to stay right where Leah is, because she's onto something that we tend to roll into deal breakers, right? And I want to separate it because in the clinical term, what we're describing when a deal breaker isn't something we knew would be until we were triggered in real time, we call that emotional landmines, right? Or unspoken deal breakers. Fine. But that comes from a place of unresolved wounds, unmet needs, or boundaries we didn't even realize we had until they were crossed. So if that's the case, is it a deal breaker, or is that something more? Because if I walk away with this, I still have those unresolved unmet needs. I still have those unresolved wounds, and I still have those boundaries that I need to address. So if I don't address it and I go into the next relationship and the same thing happens, then what?
Can I say something? So to Leah and Mina's point, right? Let's do the emotional landmine.
I've been talking all this time and I was on mute all this time. Go ahead, Sade. Just go ahead.
So let's say there is an emotional landmine, and for whatever reason you trigger it. I never knew this existed. This was something I had no idea about.
All right.
The first time it's an emotional landmine. The second time it's done, now I have to decide, is this something I want to deal with for the rest of my life? Because now you know what the trigger is, and you say, I know it, but I'm going to do it again.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think what we have to understand is, yes, when you get in relation with another person, there are things that are going to happen that you've never experienced before because you've never been with this person before. But once I tell you, hey, babe, that really I didn't feel good when that happened. I didn't like the way we handled it. All this really, Paul.
Hey,
all these other things. If I say all of that, and then 6 weeks later, the exact same
thing happens. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now this is when I get to sit back and say, especially as a single person, it's a deal breaker. That's the deal breaker.
I have a question for you, Sade.
Yes.
TP got spirit fingers going.
If you can. Oh, I didn't even see. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. But if your husband cheated on you, infidelity.
No, sir.
Would you? Your first thought? Are you done?
No.
Okay, that's all.
Girl, do not answer that question on live. You say yes on live in case your husband's watching.
Listen, let me say, because I'm one of those
inbox about to blow up.
Look.
You say yes on live.
They sniffing, they sniffing.
Listen, because I'm a big component of let me understand why.
Don't let these niggas trip you up, girl.
No,
the answer's yes.
No.
I like it.
What is
I like the answer.
Because
I'm sure.
No, I like the answer.
All men would.
But here's the thing. I want grace at some point as well, right? Maybe not infidelity. I want grace at some point. Well, what I want to understand is if for whatever reason there was something that was going on in our home. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I'm taking blame. I'm not saying I'm justifying it, but let me understand, because I need to understand what just happened. So I can't say you walk in the door, you cheated, I'm out. Hold up. Let me sit down. Let me find out why you cheated. Let me find out how you cheated. Now that I have these answers, let me walk out.
Terry, why are you laughing, Terry? I'm in.
The why and the how. I mean, it happened. What do we, here's the thing.
Well, here's the
men and women are different.
Terry, look, hold on for a second. I know what we saying. Like cheating in a marriage is a no. But I've heard of instances where a husband hasn't had physical connection with his wife over the last 3 months, 6 months.
I just had a therapy session today.
You better go get you a pocket one and keep it moving, because my husband know right off rip. You cheat on now these were the conversations beforehand. You cheat on me and you up out.
And here's the thing. I didn't mean to laugh like that.
I'm letting you know that's just how I rock. It is a non-negotiable.
I don't like for Leah, for you always gonna be in position where I'm making sure your man is satisfied. That I know about you, right?
How you know?
I'm just saying, we talking in our conversations. I can, like, for real, we talking and I hear her talk.
Lonnie.
Like, I'm gonna make sure he's taken care of. He gonna make sure I'm taken care of.
Lonnie Love.
This is the fam right here. So we know pretty much we know enough about each other to know what we gonna do. And like,
but we have to also understand, though, Quest, you can be taking care of your man and your man can still wander.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That doesn't matter, which is why coming into it, we had two things. Divorce is off the table. Like, that is not, it's not a conversation that is had.
Beautiful,
right?
Beautiful.
But he also knows this. You cheat on me, and it is a wrap. Period.
Man, Leah, I'm not
a person that's an advocate for infidelity. But when it happens as a result of, like, legit, we've had conversations. We talked a little bit while ago about deal breakers, and I've made this known to you. This is a need for me because I'm a red-blooded black man, like, for real. And you do 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and I'm doing all the things that I should be doing, and we still not going. Once again, let me put the disclaimer on it. I'm not an advocate for infidelity, but when it happens in a situation like that, I understand why it happens.
So you're talking about patterns versus mistake, right? I'm describing patterns.
Let me say this. Okay. One reason why Sade Nicole is open to understanding what's going on, and why I will never say, oh, most definitely, is because I have said things out of my mouth and had to eat my words. So what I pray for is a husband, right, where you don't even put me in the position to where I have to consider you cheating, right? That's what I pray for. I pray for a husband where that level of disrespect is not something that's a part of our marriage. What I also pray for is, Lord, give me what I need to hear what's happening, and I have the right to leave. Every right to leave. The Bible will support me. Jesus will support me saying I'm out. But in those moments, what I pray for is that I'm understanding whatever he's going through. Now, if it's just I saw her and I wanted her, brother, you can pack your bags and go with her. Right? Ooh. But if I can sit in his shoes for whatever reason and try to understand rational, because again, grace is going to have to be applied to me too. It may not be infidelity, right? But I pray that I'm able to sit with him and understand and make a decision based off of what we're going through.
And maybe and maybe not, because like Leah said, like, you don't know how physical. So because someone can cheat on you with somebody who they could be like, and I'm not saying this is what I want, but I'm a logical person. If my husband cheats, God forbid, he's like, babe, I've always wanted to smash, and like I had the opportunity, I was drunk, that's not okay. It's not okay.
But you're gonna have a conversation.
If this is some old vagina you already done had, bro, and you ran back for what now? And now we sitting here doing what? Or or who is this person? This someone in our church? Is this someone that I'm related to? Like, I'm saying, like, all these things play out. We have 2 children. We have built so much. We have grown so much. Am I really about to say that this mistake or whatever that you are so sorry for, whatever the details are, that I can literally stand 10 toes down in 20 years and say, I'm so glad I left him because I was mad in that moment? And if I can, cool. It might be how the details of it truly affect you. And you're like, yo, I can't look this dude in the face. I can't go to bed ever again with this dude. I can't ever let this dude touch me again. Or I'm willing to figure out how to. All of that stuff matters. And that's why I said, when you have a covenant, I think you can break the covenant in different ways. When they say love your wife like Christ loves the church, look at how Christ loves us. You can break your covenant different ways. And the reason why I say deal breakers is because you have some really hurt people, especially women, that some things are not deal breakers that absolutely should be. And just because it's not a deal breaker for you doesn't mean that is a healthy relationship.
Right. Paul, can you put that question back up? There was a question about how many times does the person have to punch you in the face?
I got you. Hey, Terry, go ahead, Terry. Go ahead, Terry, and we'll come back to that.
I think the initial question was about, what are deal breakers? I think everybody knows what their deal breakers are. I don't think they have to happen for you to know it. You know what a deal breaker is for you. So whether it gets discussed or not, it's a freaking deal breaker. It's a deal breaker. You just didn't communicate what it was. It's something you left out. You know what it is. I mean, what? You don't like bad?
I don't.
What? You don't like a funky or whatever the case. Well, I tell you what, I bet if something happened to you, you'll know, oh, okay, that's a deal breaker. I can tell you right now, somebody, the thing I said the other day, remember I told y'all the story about the guy who took a picture of his daughter and passed that to another female? See, look at that. Look at your body react. That's a deal breaker. We know what our deal breakers are. When people say I wouldn't leave, let me just say this. Be careful what you say, because guess what? You don't never know what you're going to do. You don't never know. It's called, look at this. You've been married for a minute, okay? Man, if that ever happened to me, I know people who said stuff before they got married, and it happened to them in marriage, and they're still there. Because now you start looking at what is the investment model. You have invested what? Time, energy, resources, everything into a relationship that is no good. Something happens and you do what? Invest more time, more energy, more resources in it, trying to make it happen. I'm dealing with a new client, a new couple today. She told me today that she hadn't been intimate with her husband since before Christmas. And I'm like saying, and then she says, he's addicted to porn. Jesus, lady, I wonder why. Is he addicted, or is he trying to get, And I don't feel good, and I'm not going to give him nothing because I don't trust him and I don't do whatever. So you're not doing this because he's not doing that. He's not doing this because you're not doing that. And I said, so tell me again, what's keeping you in this relationship?
You see, again,
I don't know. I don't know.
Again,
when I was afraid to leave. I mean, I just don't, that whole thing to me makes no sense. And we're talking about broken. A covenant is only broken by divorce. I mean, by death. That's it, by death. That's how you break a covenant. Plain and simple.
I'm going to say this to you, Terry, right? And I agree with what everyone is saying, except that every time y'all speak, I didn't switch. And then when somebody else speaks, I switch. And then when I'm just being honest with you. And then when somebody else speaks, I switch. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think it comes out of the mindset that nobody knows what they're going to do, as you said, Terry, in that situation. I'm going to tell you like this, and people may think I'm crazy, but I don't do counseling or let me put it this way. I don't do pre-engagement counseling or premarital counseling with individuals who, once they cheat, if they I'm talking about infidelity now, that if
their deal breaker is cheating.
Exactly. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to just put it out there. I've been doing premarital counseling for, let's say, 18 years. I always give them a piece of paper. And in that piece of paper, I always ask them the question, what would you do if your partner cheated? What would you do if your partner cheated? All right. It may sound insignificant. And once it comes back to me that I'm leaving, I'm talking about a 20-year-old something. I'm talking about 20. I'm not talking about when I'm not dealing with 50s, 60s, and what have you. I don't do their counseling. And the reason why I don't do their counseling is because I don't believe that they are ready for what marriage takes. Because infidelity is small on the totem pole. Yep. The disrespect that I know that some marriages go through, the inconsideration, the slavery in marriage, right? There's some things that I hear about where I would just be like, yo, I'd rather my wife have a boyfriend, right? I know this is live, but I'd rather my wife have a boyfriend than for my wife to beat me.
Hey, Wendy.
So what I'm hearing from you, Paul, is that you have a bias, right? You have a bias, Paul.
You said a boyfriend?
Yeah.
That's right. Who you was talking to on the phone?
I was talking to Wendy. She said, "Oh, nothing. It's private. Go ahead.
I saw you was talking to Wendy on the phone just now. Show me again. Show me what you was doing.
Listen,
No, what I was saying, Paul, is it sounds like you have a bias towards certain issues within a marital relationship. And so you're imposing that onto the others, right? To those that's coming to seek your help.
That's right.
Is that fair to them?
No.
Okay. So
I think yes, if he's their counselor.
But we should
if he's their counselor, he's not the counselor for them. If that's what that's the way he, you know what I'm saying?
I'm going to tell you, Leah. I'm going to tell you this, Desiree. I'm going to tell you, Leah. Yes, there's a level of bias. Let me tell you why. Right? There's a level of bias because in my relationship with Wendy, crap happens. I don't have to tell anybody what goes on in our relationship, but crap happens.
It does.
I just believe that crap happens in a lot of relationships. I'm not talking about just infidelity. I'm talking about people stealing money, taking money out of the account. You wake up, you don't know where the money's at. I'm talking about, crap happens. Somewhere down the line, you got to recognize that before you go into marriage. I'm going to go right back to where this whole thing started with this cat, Joseph, this dude right here, right? Right. The truth of the matter is that.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you for the bomb. Thank you.
That's right. This is not for suckers. Marriage is not for suckers. Marriage is not for people who are thinking contracts.
It ain't
for right. But Paul, are you? I guess what's bothering me is for a person to have their boundaries set for their lives, and it doesn't match or measure up to what you feel the standard of marriage is, then to utilize the terminology of a sucker, I'm having an issue with that, right? Because that individual has the right to say what they will and will not contend with because they have their own experiences. Right. And this is how people are guilted to remain in abusive situations because of others' bias towards certain things. We often talk about the patriarchal system of the church or, whatever it may be. The reality is each individual knows what they can endure. They know it. And
I think you both are right. I think you both are right. If I was able to walk away from my marriage as many times as I tried to, I mean, I've e-filed for divorce. One too many fireballs. It was amazing. But I mean, e-filed for divorce. The next morning I had an email. I was like, oh, just kidding. But there are hot mess.
How do you?
But listen, yes, you can e-file. But it's like the ways that I have
and forgot.
But the ways that I know that stubborn me, that God has been so merciful in growing stubborn me from situations that I honestly thought
it wasn't Wendy. It wasn't Wendy.
Oh, it better be Wendy. It better be Wendy.
That's right.
Listen here, Ninja. You don't want me on the next flight.
You can get a boyfriend.
Did you hear that one?
You don't want me on the next flight.
Oh.
You can get a boyfriend. Let's go.
All you gotta do is pretend to smack him. If you don't want that, then you can get a boyfriend. That was the deal. So yeah, but literally things that I thought would have broken me, and in my most broken moments, the way God has restored me through the process of what we were dealing with in our marriage, I don't know if it could have come through any other way besides being in that moment. Now, there are some things that can make you broken that, it's not that God is growing you. It's that this person is toxic and bad for you and you need to get out. So I think that the time to go is when the best parts of yourself, you're changing or compromising to just stay in that relationship. Not that you are growing and becoming better because of what God's able to do with both of you in the process.
Let me say this, Des. Let me say this first of all, right? Because we're here to learn. We're here to learn and grow. All right. Who's on the bottom? Who's gone? Nina's gone. Okay. Sorry about that. Let me just say this. It is so important. TJ made a comment here, right? And remember, we're talking about growing, right? It seems like you are biased based on your beliefs. You wouldn't have taken LeVar and I as clients because that's one of our deal breakers, right? Now, here's one of the things that I've recognized even tonight, right? Number one, This is why I'm not a professional counselor. That's number one. Number two, this is why pastors, right? Come on, can we talk? We talked about this before. Okay. And to be totally honest with you, after doing my doctorate, I recognized that I couldn't do that anymore. All right. But it's a bias. It's a bias because when you have made it through so much in your relationship, you're thinking to yourself, everybody can make it. And it's not true. I mean, it's not true. It's not true. I had an uncle years ago who was a crackhead. Okay, because I embraced him in Jamaica. I had a great time with him. He's not anymore. But when he was here, I couldn't trust him to walk in my house.
So he was addicted to crack?
Yeah, right, yes. So my issue is everybody, now because he's made it, everybody can get through that. Why can't everybody make it? And the truth of the matter is, you're right, TJ. It's a balance. Leah, I'm sorry, it was a bias. You're right, Leah. It was a bias, and you can't help people grow with bias. I think that you help people grow by experience and hearing where they want to be. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And when we look at stuff like deal breakers, I know my deal breaker. I have no problem stating my deal breaker. And I'm going to share with you, my deal breaker is, and has always been, two things. Number one, if I cannot be vulnerable without my wife taking advantage of my vulnerability,
yes, sir,
I can't do that.
I
just can't do that. Okay. When I say I can't do that, I can't do that. Number two, right? If you love someone else intimately and you want to be with that person, we can still be friends. Just tell me and go ahead, but don't hurt me and let me stay in something. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So, Sade, I want you to know that before you get married, right, it is so important that that person will love you no matter what. Yeah. You understand where I'm coming from? Like no matter what. So let's put it this way. There are men that I know. I'm talking to Terry. Is Terry's hand up?
Terry's hand is up.
Why don't you just be disrespectful and cut us off?
Because you were vulnerable with him and said he did not like that.
Okay, so let me say this. I know some men, their deal breaker is their wife gaining weight.
That's crazy.
Oh, I'm not. I kid you not.
But you know what, though? I know it exists.
You've been speaking to my husband?
And shaming and all of those different things.
That's real.
Yeah.
No, I know it's present.
Go ahead, Terry.
Go ahead, Terry.
Okay. Paul, you said that it's a bias. It's a bias. It's a bias.
Go ahead.
Des, you got my shirts?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me not stand up, but yes.
I know I checked my Amex and I got billed, but okay.
That's what I for
somebody's
that $999.
Oh, somebody's mother just came on. Somebody's mother just came on.
My mom's on. Stop, y'all.
I don't want to see nobody to see you. Okay. All right. So here we go. Everybody's saying it's a bias, but you know what? You got to know your strengths, man. You see what I'm saying? So I applaud that because you got to know your strengths and you got to play to your strengths. If that's not your strength, if you can't do that, then you are absolutely right because you can do more disservice than you can do something because you feel, well, let me try to get rid of my bias and help somebody. No, if that is a bias for you, okay, I'll give you an example. I get a lot of people come call me from the LGBTQI community, okay?
Okay.
I don't see it because I know how I feel about that. I wouldn't even know where to start. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, Now, if you're in my DV classes, oh, no problem there. But when you are in, a relationship like that, that is not in my wheelhouse. I don't know, I just wouldn't know what to do in there. I could
live in Atlanta.
I could probably fiddle around. What that mean? Okay. I could probably fiddle around and do some things and just look at them as two, individuals. But because I feel a certain way about it, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I would be effective. So I'm not going to jump in this water knowing I can't swim and it's 12 feet. I'm not going to do that. So then therefore you knowing that this is a bias for you, then guess what? Now, remember what I said at the conference or, whatever, You ain't practicing outside your documentable competencies, man. You dealing in your strips. That's good.
That's the only thing I like that you ever said, by the way.
Wow.
Something?
I'm just still waiting on my shirt.
Oh,
Go ahead, Sade. Go ahead, Sade.
I'm putting an S on the end because it's plural.
You got them pretty teeth, Dr. P. It's coming,
I try. Never a brace, man. Me never wear a brace here.
Really?
Paul said something, right?
Go ahead, girl.
You said something about me making sure that my husband loves me, like whomever he is, loves me completely, right? Yes. Because there are men out there who the aesthetics is what matters, right? As far as a person, that's cool, but I'd rather have someone who's looks a certain way, who
intrinsic value.
Right. So one thing I've learned that's very important to me is a holistic type of love. Because when I love you, I think about, what if this man loses his job? What if this man has cancer?
Right.
What if this man's get into a car accident and I have to feed and wipe his behind for the rest of my life? If I don't feel like, and this is me today, right? If I don't feel like that would be reciprocated
in any way,
or even, and mind me, it's even to my parents. If I feel like you wouldn't step in with me to take care of my mom, to take care of my dad, there are things that are now have been revealed to me that are vital to my mental wellness, because I don't want to sit down and eat a cookie and think, now if I eat 2 more, he gonna say something and leave. Right? Or if I get pregnant, Lord forbid, and I gain 30 pounds, now
30.
I can't, I've never been pregnant. I don't know.
Girl,
but 50. I'm pregnant and I can't even enjoy my pregnancy because I'm worried about, okay,
absolutely.
That's
right.
Absolutely.
And so for me, my deal breakers now are anything that ruin my mental health. Right.
So can I ask this question, Ashade?
Yes, ma'am.
What happens when this gentleman in early inception, right, of the relationship says everything you want to hear?
Here it comes. Here it comes.
Then you get pregnant with triplets.
Oh no.
No. So here's the thing, right? If I can be completely honest and transparent, that's never been my experience, right? Because one thing I don't do is tell you what I want. I let you talk. I'm not going to feed you. Well, I want a man that does this, and I want a man that does that.
Yes,
so how do you feel about weight gain? How do you feel about marriage? How do you feel about, what are your thoughts? How do you treat your parents when it comes to these things? Because if I sit up here and I tell you, oh my gosh, like if my mom ever gets sick, I want her to move into the house. Babe, that'll be cool. You can say that because I've given you the answer. But if I sit back and just say, okay, how do you feel? What do you think?
So there are very savvy individuals in the world.
Come on.
Right? And you don't have to tell them what it is that you want. They can sense what you desire. And they can tell you everything that you want to hear because they're very savvy like that, right? And in reality, when you get into that relationship, they are the complete opposite of what it is that they present it as. You often hear people say, oh, everybody tends to put their best foot forward, right? And then when you get in that thing, now you're starting to see that this individual really just wanted to kind of get me in their grasp. There are predatory individuals that happen. That's not just, right, pedophiles or individuals who are trying to get you in trap. They really just want power and control of an individual, and they know how to sense what you desire, right? So I'm just saying, like, it.
And sometimes you just don't know.
Best when we go into a relationship, we really do. We hope for the best. We endure a lot of things, right? The word tells us we need to be long suffering. But then the reality is that there may be things that show up on the back end that you had no clue was coming your way that you have to deal with. So when that happens, should we feel guilty to remain? Should we feel shamed to remain? Or exactly, it's called a sociopath, right?
Or duped.
Yeah, you could be duped into things, right? But those types of individuals that thinks that way, they're out there. I'm not saying everyone is like this, but what I'm saying is there is a possibility that you wind up with an individual that possesses these character traits.
But sometimes you also don't know.
Right?
So let me say this, as a single woman, right? And I know people are always like, oh, she's so naive, she's so hopeful, she's so young. It's none of that. I sincerely believe that the prayers that I've prayed are capable of being answered. Right? I can say what I want with sincerity because I've prayed about it, right? Let me put it to you this way. I've prayed to get out of a situation, so I know
Yeah.
Situation.
Say one more time. Wait. Say that one more time. I spoke over you. Say that one more time.
I prayed myself out of a situation, so I have to believe I can pray myself into a situation.
Wow.
Right? And so I sincerely believe that a lot of times, you know, single people or young people, because I'm not young, I'm 38, but the younger generation is this, y'all are just so hopeful and y'all just got all this hope and you don't think about no. Trust. What I sincerely believe is that if I can pray for my mother's healing, right? Pray and fast for my mother's healing. I can pray and fast for a healthy marriage, not a perfect marriage, but a healthy marriage.
Okay.
But just keep an open mind that sometimes some things, like I'll give a personal example. My husband and I, we did speak about some things. My husband is superficial, and he made it very clear before we got married that he does have some superficial ways. And for me, I said I need details on that because I'm not a superficial person. When you saw me in undergrad, when you see me in real life all the time, I have on basketball shorts, beaters, flip-flops. That was my go-to. I'm not a girly girl, blah, blah, blah. I know what you used to. You used to girls that are like this. I ain't never look like this. So let's have these conversations of blah, blah, blah. So one of the things he said was weight gain. And I said, well, bruh, not sure if you've seen people in my family, but
they think like heat dancers.
And then he was like, well, you know, you keep yourself up and you're active. Baby, I play sports. I don't exercise. I play sports. I'm not a person to get up and go running or do sit-ups and hit the gym. I played sports. So now when I'm older and got kids and jobs and things, I'm not about to go play flag football. So, but he was like, no, I understand, you know, as you know, blah, blah, blah. So he said what made sense to me to seem, and it seemed like he was practical, right? Now we get pregnant, I gained 50 pounds. I'm 5'6.5" on my tallest day. Bro over there stressed. And he's like, yo, so how long do you think it's gonna take for you to? And I'm over here like, who said what now? And you know, we had to have a come to Jesus moment where he was just like, babe, I'm concerned about your health. Yes, I do want my wife to look nice, but you've been carrying this weight for a minute. And he pointed out things that were just like not healthy. And I had to take inventory and be like, you know what? I'm not pregnant anymore. I don't have this excuse to be sitting here eating and moving and doing like I'm pregnant. And then there are other people in my family that don't have a healthy lifestyle. And he's looking at all of those things and I'm not seeing it from his point of view. Now, I didn't like it, but what he was saying essentially was not, hey, babe, I want you to look like her. It was, I need you to be healthy. I need you to be okay. And I'm nervous about some things.
Okay.
And for me, I didn't like it, but I thought that was, I thought it was okay.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
He almost died.
Let me say this real quick. And this is to anybody. My mother is watching. One thing my mother taught my sisters and I as children, it's not what you say, but how you say it. Right? I've been in a relationship where my ex was a trainer, right? When he met me, I was not in no kind of shape. Never once did that man make me feel inadequate. It was, let's go work out together. Hey, babe, let's go. You know what? I would say, oh, I want Waffle House. You know what he would say? Let's walk there together. Let's walk to Waffle House. We can walk, you can eat what you want, and we'll walk back to the house. I've also dated somebody where it was a point of contention on a regular basis. And that's why I say my mental wellness
means everything.
I would never in life be in a situation where I'm uncomfortable in my own skin because of what other people are thinking or putting onto me.
Okay, 1 second. All right, just 1 second. Share break. We need another share break. One more share break because we got 25 more minutes left. All right, one share break. For those who are on with us, Tori Peterson, I see you. Mama Green, I see you. Norma Hunt, why are you just coming on? Why are you just
Leave
coming
Norma
on?
alone.
All right, hey, listen now. Share this with 5 people. Share it with 5 people. Share it with 5 people. 5 people. We got 20 minutes left. 5 people. We got 20 minutes left. All right. Did you see what Dr. Hayes said? 38 is young, Sade.
38 is young. It wasn't young when you was 38. I'm just gonna say that.
Man.
Hey, so Paul, can I say this? Somebody said something about, and I think it was Leah and somebody else said something about sociopath. Okay. And we kind of run over those terms a lot. And when you're talking, sociopath, narcissist, psychopath, all of those, labels, I guess you want to say, diagnosis, they all kind of are like the same. But when you're talking about sociopath versus psychopath, what's the difference? What's the difference in the two? Okay.
What is the difference, Terry?
So one is born and one is created. One is born and one is created. Now, let's ask Dez. Dez.
Which one am I?
Which one? No, I know you are. I know you are. But they both kind of have the same characteristics. They're devoid of emotions and the whole nine or whatever the case may be. But one is created and one is born. Okay. Your sociopath is the one that is created. Okay. And so if you look at, something like The Sopranos, okay? Tony Soprano was created because he saw his dad cutting up dudes in the butcher shop, you know what I'm saying? And then he grew up doing it, and he would go home and just sit down and have dinner with his kids, like nothing happened. Psychopath, you probably would be dinner, okay? And so they're not going to come in and sit down with anybody or whatever. They're going to be loners. They're going to be off to their own and doing their own thing. What was the movie? Silence of the Lambs?
Yes.
See what I'm saying?
My favorite, love it.
Terry, tie that into relationship, because I'm interested to know your thoughts on where that was going.
Somebody had said something. Leah was talking about it earlier, and then somebody chimed in and said a psychopath. People who actually know what it is they want from you, but they present in a different way. And so it's just like, yeah, you know what? I like what she doing for me. I like what he doing for me. This could be a come up. You know what I'm saying? And so you jump in it thinking like, oh my God, this person is everything I thought they would be. Don't be so careful on, don't be so easily swayed by. But when you've been in the wilderness for a long time and somebody presents you water, it could be in a dirty glass. Hell, I want that, and then you realize, wait a minute, what was in this thing? And so you hop in there, and then this person is devoid of, any emotion, talks to you any kind of way, makes you feel some kind of way, makes you, degrade you and do all this kind of stuff. And you sit there like, well, I prayed for this person. How could this person not be who I thought it was? Because you did what? You went for what sounded, what looked good. They used to say this. I'm gonna tell you, not the last 2 years, and Leah can appreciate this. When we look at the Detroit Lions, let me bring that in. Okay?
Come on, man.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. For years, Detroit. No, listen to what I'm gonna say. For years, the Lions went after what looked good, and they didn't get what they needed. You see what I'm saying? That's why they never did anything, because they went after what looked good.
They had Barry.
That's one person on the team, right?
Hey, focus. Let's come back.
Nowhere. Oh, I am focused. I'm staying right here. That's what I'm saying. They went for what looked good. That's why they would always have one star player on the team instead of building the whole thing.
Have you ever made it to the Super Bowl?
We got Megatron. We got Barry. We got all these players, but we didn't have it all put together. So they went for what looked good instead of what they needed.
So based on what you just said, do you think that is why people in relationships, don't set healthy boundaries, and 2, why they end up not recognizing a deal breaker when it's a deal breaker?
Ooh, that was good. That was good.
Ask that question again.
Say that one more time.
Yep. So based on what Terry just said, do we think that people don't set boundaries that like they need to, and or that they don't recognize deal breakers that are deal breakers?
As a single person who's out here in this world, right? Yes,
who's out here in this world?
You out there in them streets.
Yeah, Stop putting that label on yourself. Stop putting that label on yourself. Don't just don't say that. Just be like, hey, as a person out here that's looking for.
That sounds controlling. She could say what she want to say. It's Women's Month.
I'm single.
You're not going to win with
it's Women's Month.
So here's the thing. As a person who is single, right? I do believe that, and I've always said, I've never been desperate for it, right? But I believe sometimes when someone checks off enough boxes, right? You get excited. You're like, okay, we can make this work. We can figure this out. And the more comfortable you get, the more lax your boundaries get. Let me not say you. For me, the more lax I get, the more lax my boundaries became, because now I'm telling myself I love this person. So because I love this person, I'll deal with this more than I would from somebody I just met, right? Mm-hmm. And I think what happens is that a lot of times, Leah has said it before, we go before God and we really try to make something happen where God is saying, I'm trying to break this thing apart.
That's right.
But you keep fighting to keep it together, because it's not even self-love. You don't trust me enough to fix whatever needs to be fixed in you so that you can get what I have for you. And as I've said, I don't know anybody in my shoes. I don't know anybody who's 38, who's never been married, and who doesn't have children. I don't know them, right? So it's hard for me to hear people who have experienced what I want say, oh no, you just gotta, yeah, you don't know what that feels like. And so those feelings, right, will lead you to say, I can put up with this just a little bit more. I don't want to fail, right? I don't want to be in relationship with someone and give everything and then it fails. So I will
in the name of getting skin in the game. Yep.
In the name of hoping I get skin in the game.
But can I add this a little bit? I think we utilize the term boundaries
loosely.
There's a difference between boundaries and limits, right? Okay. Boundaries are immovable. Yep. They are steadfast. Yep. Limits have a little bit of give, right? Wow. And so when I hear you say, like, over time, when I get a little, relaxed in your company, then my boundaries loosen up. Your limits, right, are activated in that moment. Your boundaries go nowhere, right? They're fastened. They're hard. It ain't going nowhere. So I just kind of wanted to throw that in there. Is that
I have a quick question, Leah?
Yeah.
Because when you said that, are boundaries deal breakers? Because so here's one of my things. You cannot hit me. You cannot hit me. That is that's a deal breaker.
Oh, here comes the biased gentleman here. Okay. Go ahead, Paul.
I think boundaries deal a lot more with what you can control and enforce. I think that's what boundaries deal a lot more with.
With what?
I think deal breaker is something that I'm just not going to deal with. This is what breaks the deal right here. I think boundaries are a little bit more like you can come up to the boundary and I can say, listen, bro, I can't control you, but I can control me. And I can't enforce a boundary that I can't control.
But I think Leah hit the nail on the head though with the boundary, because if you have a boundary that is immovable and someone still breaches that boundary, it doesn't mean that it may be a deal breaker. But look at the damage. A boundary is set up for protection. It's a barrier. So now you are, like Sade said, your mental health is gone. It's lacking because that boundary protected that. If you still decide to stay, you do not get the benefit that that boundary gave because you allowed them to breach it. Now,
and we're
a limit,
not looking at the consequences thereafter, right? And so when we say, oh, okay, no, we got to stay in this thing, we're going to work at it because we're married, then the reality is there's going to be some consequences that come thereafter, like a lack of trust. Would you want to be in a marriage for the duration of that marriage with your mate looking at you side-eyed every time you walk out that door? I was in my domestic violence class today, teaching it, not a part of it. I was not the perpetrator here.
Clarity.
Thank you for that.
But the conversation was kind of like dealing with this whole thing of, oh, okay, well, I allowed myself to go this far and I didn't have a point of return, right? And so now my woman is looking at me and I can't leave out the door. She like banging my phone, like, where are you? You must be out here doing XYZ, right? And so you have to take a look back at what happened. What was the breach in this situation, right? What did you do in this, right? And how and why is she responding? What's the measure of accountability there? So we can stay in relationships all day long if we want to and allow any manner of foolishness and foolery to go on. But there's going to be some natural consequences and some logical ones, meaning the consequence after the consequence. That's going to come.
Yeah, I think too, Leah, that a lot of people's insecurities take them to relationships and leave them in relationships and keep them there. Because
lead them there.
Yeah, it leads them and it leads them to, you see what I'm saying? And it keeps them there. Because a lot of times when you're hooking up with somebody, it's like this. Oh, look at these holes. Look at that. Man, they fit right in. They fill in my needs.
I'm sorry, Terry. Did you say look at these holes? That's what you look at these holes? That's what you said?
That's what I heard.
Oh, I wanted to make sure that I heard holes.
Openings, gaps.
Oh, gaps.
Holes.
My bad.
Holes got them too.
Holes. All right, my bad.
They do.
What time is it? All right, where my shirt?
Ring the bell. Ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. All right, folks.
No, but what I'm saying is that the insecurities, what I said it. The thing is, insecurities are based out of myth and fear, and so when you have them,
slow down, Terry. You moving too fast, bro. Insecurities are based out of what?
Myth and fear.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, it's based out of myth and fear, and so the deal is that you have all of these people go into relationships with insecurities. You ain't answering your phone. You must be with another chick. You must be here. You didn't that. Why didn't you? You know, all of that other kind of stuff. And here's the thing: a lot of insecurities come from what? Either past relationship stuff. Okay, but here's the thing: the relationship didn't have to be an intimate one. It could have been with your mama, your daddy, a cousin, a teacher, anybody. You see what I'm saying? And so you go into this thing, you know, insecurities based on looks, weight, whatever the case may be, finances, or whatever the case may be. And so it's like, oh, this person right here, you know, they know how to handle money. Let me get in this thing with them because, you know, I'm insecure about how I handle my money. And then you get in there, and the next thing you know, that person's running all of the finances in the household. You see what I'm saying?
I got a question for the therapist. I have a question.
Economic abuse, espérate un momento, por favor. And so the deal is that you get in this thing, and then it's like, wait a minute, economic abuse. Economic abuse. You don't know if you got $50 or 50,000 in the bank because somebody is controlling that. A lot of times through what? Male privilege. Okay, and every male in America, in the world, suffers from male privilege because of how we're raised. Hey, I'm the man. I get the big piece of chicken. You know
hold on. You need to slow down a little bit because you're stepping on a lot of toes right now.
I'm just saying. So, go ahead, Disney.
Look, and that was a deal breaker.
I got a question for the I guess. Well, I mean, anybody can answer, but from a therapist point of view, in a marriage, how much is one spouse responsible for the journey or the growth part of the other spouse that is dealing with some type of healing they need, a trauma they need, or whatever the case is? Like, how much are you responsible for that as their mate? Maybe an example of one of them have some unresolved trauma of being like a surrogate husband. So they got the attachment, a bad attachment to mama. And how much of that are you how much of that do you take on? How much of that is their stuff they need to fix and figure it out and do better in the marriage? Like, how much do you, as a spouse, do you support without enabling? Or how much is like, that's your stuff? Like, I'm making sense?
Yeah. Oh, first of all, we got about 5. Listen, we got 5 minutes left. So this is what we want to do. We want the clinicians to answer that. So what I want you to do is to make sure that question is asked more precise, right? More precise, okay? Because I'm going to ask Leah if you answer, I'm going to ask Terry if you answer, and I'm going to ask Mina if you answer, and then we'll close that up. And the reason why I want you to ask that question is because I like to take something that is an issue, okay? That is an issue, and declare. How does Armina say it? Not a fix, but Armina, how do you say it? You know, we never talk about fixing it, but let's answer it. Let's answer
about solution focus.
Solution focus. So Armina, you couldn't say that? You couldn't say that, Armina?
I was allowing you to get your thoughts out.
Oh, I see. Thank you, therapist. Thank you, therapist. All 3 of the therapists are here. Thank you. I'll go with the red lip. Go ahead, red lip. No. Go ahead. Answer. Try that question again. All right. And then I want the 3 of them to answer that.
Can one of y'all 3 word it better for me?
So somebody said, how much is one spouse responsible for the other spouse's growth as it pertains to their trauma?
Wow. Thank you, Dylan.
So that's awesome. But then you followed up with support. So are you looking at responsibility or are you looking at support from your mate?
Both of them in my Quest voice. Both of them.
You can't. Go ahead, big sis.
No, go ahead, Mina. Go ahead.
I mean, that's a good breakdown of the question, but you can support, but you cannot solely be responsible for the partner's healing from trauma. Like that is a short answer. I can tell you what the spouse can be responsible for. And the number one thing is, and we talk about it all the time, is creating a safe, emotional, supportive environment. You know, so you cannot solely, and that's the key word, solely be responsible for their healing.
I like that.
I think one of the things that the mindset that should be adopted is you could lead from the front, walk alongside like a friend, and motivate from the back.
No, because when we lead from the front, sometimes the partner is okay with us being there and leading from the front, meaning that you're doing the work for your partner.
No. And when I say lead from the front, I'm not saying doing the work for you. Sometimes you don't know what that looks like, and I'm going to give you an example. And after I've given you an example, then I'm going to walk alongside you like a friend and talk to you in ways like, yo, that would help motivate or push you towards that. And then I'm going to motivate from the back as well.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do the work for you. I ain't never been the type of dude to do like there was some things that perfect example, and I know she's okay with it because we've discussed it in conferences before. When my wife and I first got together, she had an issue because her and her father's relationship wasn't dope. One of the things that I helped her do in terms of healing was I was like, let's take a trip to New York and let's mend this up, because she hadn't spoken to her father in years. Then he finally called, and she vacillated back and forth whether or not she was going to talk to my man. Then she finally spoke to him, and I said, no, we need to go a step further, because you need to establish some stuff with him before you start off in this relationship with me, because I'm going to be tied to some of that stuff. So I walked her through the process of going back to the Bronx, and we went to go talk to my man. And after we squared some things away, she was better about it. She felt better about it. And then we came home and continued to have those conversations. And it's one of those things that continue to go on to this day. We talked through some stuff. So I didn't do the work for her, but I helped walk her through the process.
But Quest, and I get what you're saying, and I know we don't have time, and there's two other people, but what I want to say is, when our mental health is unchecked, and someone gets in front of us to model for us what that should look like, they end up starting to do the work, and they may not even realize that they're absorbing the effects, right, of these unresolved trauma. You think that you're doing good by showing them. So just like you said, y'all got in the car together, y'all went to the Bronx together. That's not being in front of her. That's walking alongside with the person. And so that is the responsibility of the spouse, is to walk alongside with you.
Let me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
On the therapy side, where couples come in and they absorb the effects of these unresolved traumas in a way that manifests as harmful behaviors, lashing out, manipulation, all of those things. And then the unresolved trauma person says, but that's my trauma. Those were trauma responses, right? And so one of the things that the spouse is not responsible for doing is the work, and also absorbing the effects of the unresolved trauma. I'm done.
Mina, what I'm hearing you say before I ask Leah and Terry to close off, what I'm hearing you say is that even if someone was leading, because there was so much trauma, it'd be very difficult for that person to even appreciate what that person is doing in front, because they can't see past their trauma.
Absolutely.
Is that what you're? Okay, gotcha. Leah, please, if you will.
So can we put that question back up there again?
Absolutely. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. So I want us to look at what is being asked here. How much is one spouse responsible for the other spouse's growth? 0. I'm not responsible, right, for my husband's growth, advancement, anything. That has to happen intrinsically. Now, when I look at the word, because language is so super important, when we look at responsibility, it is the independent action. Independent. One.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Individual. And they make the decision without any input, any other authorization. I cannot live my spouse's life. I have no ability to change them. All I can simply do is encourage them. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about, Quest, is walking alongside, right? So I can encourage you. I can identify some things that may be of concern, right? Lovingly, definitely, because you don't want to put your spouse down. The wall, the blocker, the whole 9 is going up. But you want to encourage the growth, and hopefully, if they decide that they feel that there's an issue, then they'll act. But that individual, if they see nothing wrong with them, they aren't going to move. And so we go back to the car scenario where we're working and working and working, and over time this stuff, right, wear and tear and break down. Too many of us are trying to work the lives of our spouse, and we can't.
Wow. Well, I appreciate that one. I'm gonna flip this one. This last question, I'm gonna flip it differently. Someone asked this question, Terry, and I want you to take some time and look at it for a moment. I love the answer that you gave, Leah. Mina, I love the answer that you gave, and I'm going to say this as a moment where you can see what's happening when you say, "Quest, this is what I did. This is what we had to do. So and so, what have you." I think, though, before, please just study that question real quick, Terry. So we'll close on that question. My thing is, are we at least supposed to hold? Can we use the word accountability instead of responsible? I'm just okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can hold. Yeah.
Okay. That's good enough. Good enough. Good enough. Good enough.
Oh wait, before you ask
You
the
do
last,
know though, it changes the dynamics of the question though.
No,
Right,
I know.
big
No,
time.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I know. I just wanted to be mindful of that word accountability. That's all. That's all.
But the reason I ask is because when people are married, they take this oneness thing, and it's like, I have to, that's why I was asking, like, how much are you responsible for your spouse? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how much do you stay? Some people stay in, well, I'm supposed to be the wife. I'm supposed to help them. I'm supposed to. And it's like, how much are you responsible for their stuff?
Right. And I think that Leah and Mina really put
Made it
it
very clear.
very clear.
I can walk alongside you, but I'm not responsible for it.
Absolutely.
I can encourage, I can assist, like Quest was saying, but I'm not responsible.
I got you. And that's why another
Okay.
thing for single individuals got to be very careful that they are not guilted into marriage. They're not put in a place where they feel like they have to keep working this person. You understand where I'm coming
Put the
from?
question back up again. Put the question back up again. Because I need to.
Which one? The one for Terry?
No, the one that you just put up a while ago.
The
one about downfall? Is that what we're addressing?
No. We're not addressing that. We're not.
Okay.
Only Terry's addressing that. Only Terry's addressing that. Mm-hmm. That we've got to be mindful that so many people walk into a marriage or go into a marriage or stay in a relationship even before marriage fixing. And what I've heard straight through this is, and many younger people before they get married will sacrifice their mental health.
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Because they think that marriage will fix the mental health. And so could you imagine being 25, 26, getting married with a 38-year-old, with a 30-year-old mindset?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't work that way. And this is one of the reasons why I really believe in being mentors. Someone from my church just called me today after Unscripted, after the sermon this Sabbath that I just passed. It says, I think God is calling me to mentor young girls. And I think that's a fix, or that's a level of accountability.
Mentoring them for what though?
I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But I really don't know. But what I'm saying is somebody is developing answers for the next generation. You understand where I'm coming from? But what I recognize is that I can't be, Wendy's right here. I cannot be responsible if Wendy doesn't want to be responsible for herself.
Nope.
But I can hold her accountable.
Yeah. Because what may end up happening is you may wind up with an enmeshed relationship where one is trying to live, right, the life of, they like this. No, we're individuals. You got to figure this thing out called life on your own.
And that's biblical. And that's biblical.
Or an entanglement. Shout out to Jada Pinkett.
Okay, oh jeez. Sade, and then we'll close off with you. Go ahead.
The one thing, and maybe this can be our topic for next week. I think, and I can say in my situation, I think we go into relationships I think sometimes in dating relationships, we take the role of wife or we take the role of husband.
Facts.
someone who has not asked us to fill that role.
Facts.
Right? So I'm thinking of you and considering you as a spouse when you're not. So therefore, how do you know as when in the dating relationship, right? When to go ahead and say, this is not my person, this is not my forever, this is not who I'm supposed to be with. And you walk away saying, you know what, it's not even that I don't care for you, it's that I just realize that I'm trying to fix something that's not mine.
That's it.
I got you, bro. I got you. I got you. Terry, close us off, man, with the answer to this question, if you can, or just a thought, please.
Okay, quickly, I want to go back to the other question. It'll just take me a few seconds. How responsible, I think, is your spouse for your trauma?
For your downfall, I think you're saying.
No. The first one.
I went back.
You went back
for a brief second to your question. I think you're responsible. I think you're responsible for it as much as you caused it.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Did you cause some of the trauma?
Yep. You chose that hell-raising heifer. Yes, you did.
See what I'm saying? So if you caused some of it,
self-reflection.
Okay,
chose her. Yes, you did. Because I hear what he's saying.
Yeah.
Did you cause some of the trauma? Now, as far as the healing part, that's on them. But are you responsible? Because that's the word we're using here for some of that trauma.
Okay.
Yeah. With your power and control mindset, with whatever else you got going on, infidelity, financial infidelity. Nobody ever talks about financial infidelity. Yeah, that happens too. Okay. Now, this question: how much can your spouse be responsible for your downfall?
As much as I let him.
Downfall from what? Downfall from what? That there has to be more to that question. Because when you say downfall from, there's a whole lot of things from, hey, we had all of this money and now bam, we're bankrupt. Man, I was going to church and now I don't go anymore. Man, I was doing, what are we downfalling from? And if you guys are in it together and you can see what's going on, then both of you are equally responsible for the downfall.
Wow, equally responsible.
Well, he said, how much is your spouse responsible for your downfall? I don't think your spouse is responsible at all for your downfall, because I think downfalls occur when the risk was greater than the reward.
See, that's why I ask, what are we talking about? That question is kind of vague. So here's the thing. If you and I are married, but I am in control of the finances.
Hey, Dr. B.
You know nothing about it. Okay. And you know nothing about it. And I take us to bankruptcy. You see what I'm saying? You have no control. What? I didn't know. But some people say, well, wait a minute. How you married and you didn't know what was going on in your own household? Because it's a power and control dynamic. And you put all of your chips into this individual without knowing, without having access to finances or anything. You didn't. What? Some people can say, yo, y'all both the cause of that. But if it's truly a power and control dynamic and you don't know what's going on because you're afraid or then that person is responsible for the downfall. But then what are we talking about? That's why I said that question is kind of
but I think the answer is still the same, even if there's a great reason. If my husband beats me, if I ask anything about finances, I'm still staying. I may have nowhere to go. I may feel like I have to stay, but still I'm responsible for that because I'm still staying. Even though it may seem like I have no choice, there's a great reason, I'm still responsible.
Yeah, but again, the question is broad. You know what I'm saying? And it needs to be.
The question is broad, but the reality is you still know when you don't have access.
Yeah. That's it. I think I still think you answered it in its holistic, in as broad as the question may have been. I think you answered it in the broad.
I tried to narrow it down.
Yeah, hey, that's the problem with having these stinking clinicians on, because you always gotta listen.
Well, how do you feel about that? Well, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't feel nothing.
Solution focused.
Armina focus. So here it is.
Solution focused, strength based, community. Don't have me go there.
And we gotta do Lena, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You mean Leah?
Right.
I'm not Lena.
And Dr. P, Detroit, Kappa,
Okay,
Desiree,
we're gonna let Desiree go first. Desiree, would you wave?
No, Leah. I think she said the lean in. Is that what you said?
Leah, I'm from Leah.
Oh, no, she said Lena. My feelings are hurt.
Okay. I'm sorry, Leah. I'm sorry. I had a stroke. I'm sorry.
That's the thing we do.
It's them edibles. She had
I'm not high. I'm not high. I promise. I'm Scout time. I'm not high.
Yes, that's the thing we do in therapy is lean in. You know what I'm saying? And you lean in the closer. Say, so tell me more. Tell me more.
This is the closest. This is the closest I've seen you, Terry. For real. This is the closest I've seen you. Give us a wave. Give us a wave. No. One at a time. Bye, Des. We'll see you after.
You know what? You slipping. Usually you'll be like, what is the deal breaker for you?
It is. Yeah, you gotta ask.
All right, let's go back. Des,
you're slipping.
I'm putting on.
Yeah, we caught you. Listen, Des.
Oh, I thought she was smoking something.
I got asthma, bro. I got asthma.
Get you a butyrol pump.
What you need to do is what you need is a new car.
Got his Ray and nephew in that orange juice.
It's gonna cost you.
To everyone who's watching, imagine us together in person.
Oh my goodness, it's crazy.
That's a whole nother hookup.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there.
Brenda Walsh, she's I say it's my big sister. She has this incredible testimony of
shots out
of being what's the word again? Of abuse in marriage, physical. Man, I would love to bring her on.
Which one is Brenda in the picture?
The one on the
right.
right.
One without the gray hair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know. I'm just asking.
Okay.
Sounded like she needed to conceal it. Well, no.
Yo, Quest. I was like, Des, don't say it. I was like, Des, don't say it.
Back down, Q.
Nah, buck up, Q. I'm with you.
All right, let's go around the clock. And you can choose.
But I would love to hear her story, though.
I would too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would love to read his obituary.
I really would.
Okay. I never got to push this one, y'all. But this was for Quest. I was trying to be nice, but motivated from the back. Okay, here we go.
I'm a back motivator.
But why was it held in the queue?
Because I forgot to hit it.
Mario, I wanted you to come and tell the folk if I was a back motivator.
You don't know. I don't back motivation never lasts long.
All right, listen, sister. Listen,
it does for me.
My big sister is on. My big sister Brenda is on.
Don't be talking about my newbie.
So
you didn't say nah. You ain't say nah.
So let me just ask her real quick.
I thought she said back vibrator or something.
All right.
Hey, yo.
Brenda, which part of the US, which part of the world are you at right now? Just really quickly so I can get in touch with you later. Which part of the world you're on right now? Just right there. Oh, she's laughing. Thank God.
I think his question is, what time is it where you are?
I don't know. She travels so often.
Right, but what you need to know is what time it is.
Oh, that's right. What time?
You might want to live vicariously through.
Do you know what?
Right?
No, that's what I'm for. That's what I'm for. He just wants to know what time it is.
All right.
What time is it where you are, Miss Brenda?
She's flying to Australia tomorrow.
See, now you got to go look up what time is it in Australia.
Oh, see that? I'll hit her up on
me. Just put me in the pouch and I'll jump. Jump on the flight with you.
Yo, I immediately saw a kangaroo when you said
on a 2-month speaker.
She's on a
2-month. That is
indeed.
I'm telling you, get dope.
We need you to come and teach the secrets.
So Brenda, I'm gonna go ahead. So we're gonna send you our Cash App for Unscripted, and we appreciate you. And
And I think she wrote 13 books.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's crazy.
I think she wrote about 13
That's
books.
good.
It's crazy,
That's
man.
good.
It's crazy.
I'm on 2. I got work to do.
We got work to do. All right, right around the clock. Des, what is your deal breaker in marriage?
So I didn't think I had one until Dr. P was speaking. So my deal breaker would be any almost sort of kind of misconduct concerning children. I guess I'm thinking like I wouldn't even deal with that, but physical abuse.
Okay, I got you.
Verbal abuse.
Verbal,
because it's not the smoke you want. You don't want to start that.
Okay. All right. Hang out in the green room, Green. Hang out in the green room. All right. Sade, in your dating life, what is your deal breaker? And while we're doing this, if you're still on with us, please, in dating or in marriage, you can write out your deal breaker.
Put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat. We'd love to hear that.
Go ahead,
Put your deal breaker in the chat.
I think where I am now, my deal breaker is any level of disrespect.
Come on, talk the talk.
That impedes on my personal, private space. And anything that causes me, and I say this because it's in me, right? What that ugly villain beast, if she comes out in dating, I don't want to be married to. Because if you could trigger her in dating, I just do not want to be. I don't like seeing her because she ain't pretty.
Gotcha.
And so if something happens in dating, especially in those early stages where she has to come out, I'm okay with leaving.
Gotcha. Thanks, sis. Thanks. Mina?
I have a lot, but I'm gonna give you one.
Okay.
Top.
One. Dismissiveness of my needs, feelings, or boundaries.
Ooh.
And that's one. That's not like 3 of them.
That's a run-on sentence. I got you, Mina. I got you. Thanks for that. Stay in the green room. Let's wait for us. Leah, what's yours?
So I shared one, right? Infidelity is a wrap for me. Additionally, don't ever think to put your hands on me. Not doing any of that. And praise God, I've never, ever had to contend with that because the Lord knew I would go to prison smiling. Same with if you put your hands on my kids. I can't contend with any of that as well. So I would say that at this point, those are the major deal breakers, verbal, psychological, all those sorts of things. Like I can see that coming, ward that off. And if you think, like I may give you an opportunity where it slips out, right? You call me out my name, never again, don't do that. After that, right, we gonna have to go and part our separate ways. But that would not be at the top of my list. The other ones were. Yeah.
I got you. Thanks, lady. We'll see you in the green room.
All right.
Yeah. Come on, Terry. Talk to us.
This kind of reminds me what you asked for. What are our it was this question you asked it what was it before? What are your
non-negotiables?
No, it was a couple of shows back. It's a couple of shows back. And it was like, what are your your core value? What was it? Core values.
Core values.
That's what we were talking about. It's the same, it's the same thing because your core values are gonna mirror, what your non-negotiables or whatever. But for me, it's, and I said it, before, it's disrespect. It's disrespect. And under the umbrella of disrespect comes the whole, and I've never had this before, but this right here, when you talking, putting your, this right here, because guys come to my domestic violence talking about, she pushing my head and she said, when we do that, now I'm gonna leave because of what I do for a living. Okay, I remember what did Quest say? Somebody was gonna die, and the only time I've ever wanted to do something was going through my divorce. You know what I'm saying? But I thought about, dang, am I gonna throw away everything just to be like, no, man, I got to do it. So for me, it's disrespect and a hood ghetto type of, mentality. When I'm telling you something and you're like, whatever, that right there, that's disrespect. I'm done because I have no reason to lie. I've told you what it is. And that was the amazing thing. I will say this, in my marriage, that was not an issue. That was not an issue. But I find out here in the dating world, when you're dating and you tell somebody something, dude, it's like, what I gotta lie to you for? I'm not in a relationship with what I gotta lie. I owe you nothing. So when you come with that kind of energy, that's a deal breaker for me. I'm turned off. Turned off.
I got you. We'll see you in the green room, doctor.
All right.
Yeah, P. I'm rocking with TP, man. Disrespect is something I can't swallow that, man. Yeah, and you know where we come from, P. We from that borough. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know if it's ingrained in us, because I'll say this: I love the Lord, I really do, right? And I've been refined a little bit over the years. But you know where we come from. Like, if you let somebody disrespect you, then it's almost like you end up becoming free lunch for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And as a man, standing on my own, like, I just can't take disrespect from anybody. And I expect in return what I give. I give respect. I respect people. In my relationship, though, it's a little bit different. And different in the sense that I even become a little bit more respectful, because I know in marriage, there's a balance of love and respect, right? The word declares that, you have to love your wives, right? As Christ loved the church. And then he tells the wives to respect their husbands, right? And I know that if I'm not loving towards her, and I'm not talking about loving her the way that I want to love her, I'm talking about the way that she wants to be loved, right? If I don't love her the way that she wants to be loved, then the truth of the matter is she's not going to feel too respectful. And that's something that I need. Like, I'm not talking about what I want. In order for me to properly operate in this relationship, I need respect in all of its forms. The minute that it happens, I'm up, like, we're going to have a conversation. We need to, because I need to let you know that this is a deal breaker for me, and it can cause serious problems if I feel like I'm disrespected. Because the inverse is also true, that if I'm not respected, I ain't going to feel too loving.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Well, you can't go to the green room without me. I don't think people know what happens after we leave and we're in the green room. It's still going on.
It's still going on.
It's still going on. But for those who are online, we want to thank you for joining us. Sade told me to tell you.
Yep.
Share this with at least 5 people. Share this with your friends, your neighbors, and we're coming to a town close to you.
Yeah, run and tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend.
For sure. Tori, it's good to see you. Please give your hubby my regards. Merlan, my first elder. Come on, we got a lot of work to do.
Shouts out to Tori. She said we don't stand for that.
No, and then to my Haitian sister Jojo, it's all good, sis. It's all good. And Shane, it was good to see you, brother. It was good to see you this week.
And man, a yard man, we're not dealing with them things.
Somebody said we're aftergoing. We're aftergoing. Be blessed, everyone. Continue to walk with God. Be blessed.
Peace.